Mercenaries. Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries. Cutethlhu, I'm sorry I threw you, but I thought it was for a funny bit. No, it's not. Okay, you are the perfect throwable size. That's why we call you Cutethlhu, is because you're just perfectly handheld and I can just throw you. Okay, all right, look, I'm sorry. I won't throw you ever again for the remainder of this video. Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries was a minigame mode unlocked in the original Resident Evil 4 by completing the campaign. But I have a confession. I've never played the Mercenaries for the original Resident Evil 4, but I have played the Mercenaries for the Resident Evil 4 Remake, and it's good. It's really good. But what is Mercs mode? If you're new to Resident Evil 4, let me give you kind of a rundown. Mercs is a time-based arcade shooter wave survival thing. You kill bad guys, you keep the time going, you don't die, you get a high score. It's a very arcade mode for Resident Evil. Really, you have a couple of characters, a couple of maps, and you just keep the high score going as high as you can, kill 150 enemies, get combos, get earned points, do a lot of damage. It's really cool. But before we really get into why I love the Resident Evil 4 Remake Mercenaries, we should probably address the elephant in the room. There are a lot of people online that think that Mercs is not completed because it shipped without 2 characters that were in the original Resident Evil 4 Mercs, that being Ada Wong and Albert Wesker. I understand where they're coming from, but I personally disagree, because while we didn't get those 2 characters, we did get a new character in Luis Serra, but also I would bet all of the money in the world that we are going to get both Ada and Albert when the Separate Ways DLC comes out for Resident Evil 4. Now, Capcom haven't officially announced that, but data miners have found information pointing towards a Separate Ways DLC being announced at some point. When that's announced and it comes out, I can almost guarantee you both Wesker and Ada are going to come to Mercenaries because they are core characters to the Separate Ways story. But enough about that. I want to talk about the characters that did release with Resident Evil 4 Remake's Mercenaries mode and what makes it so fucking good. But in order to do that, I should probably explain why the Resident Evil 4's remake is so good. And to just summarize my review real quick, Resident Evil 4 Remake was really
72 hours later.
really good. But one of the key contributors to why it was so incredible is the game's core combat systems. You see, the Resident Evil 4 Remake's combat is superb. The original Resident Evil 4's combat is really good. Even though the tank control's dated a little bit, it's still kind of fun to play. But the new game blows it out of the fucking water, man. They keep so many of the original enemy variety from the original game, but make it more enticing, you know? The new Resident Evil 4 gameplay is extremely tight, precise, intense, stressful, and it is all due to all of the different enemy varieties that they throw at you. You have to change weapons when you can't headshot an enemy because they have a helmet on. Shield guys require a different variety. When Ganados blurt out into Plagas and they go you need to figure that out. If an enemy drops on the floor in the new game, they'll start to violently shake sometimes, and you have to get in there and you have to shank them in the neck in order to keep them from evolving into a stronger Plagas variant. That was not something in the original game, but here it forces you to get into combat. It forces you to change positions to justify whether or not you want to push in and keep that enemy from respawning or have to deal with a stronger, faster enemy in like 30 seconds. It is such a good combat system that works so well throughout the entirety of the game that to make an entire game mode dedicated to it just makes sense. weapons all feel really punchy and intense. Leon's roundhouse kick is just as guttural now as it was 20 years ago, and just like the glory kills from fucking Doom and Doom Eternal, it never gets boring to roundhouse kick a Ganado square in the face. It's such a blast. It's so much fun. So the Mercenaries mode really pushes the envelope in what this combat core system can do, and really is begging you to abuse its combat mechanics in ways that are just fun. It just keeps throwing shit at you. It throws chainsaws, it throws fucking udders, it throws just everything you can think of. It just keeps throwing them at you on the different maps, on the different levels, and it really makes you understand the core mechanics of the Resident Evil 4 combat system in a way that's just fun. It's really cool, man. But on top of an already spectacular core combat system, Mercenaries mode gives you different characters with different loadouts and different ultimate mayhem abilities. These different characters ask you to play in different ways. Like, let's start with Leon, the core twink man himself. We love him so much. All hail Lord Leon S. Kennedy. Leon is equipped with his trusted red laser SG-09, his riot shotgun, and stingray rifle. Then he's got a couple of throwables, a couple of grenades, a couple of flash grenades. And his ultimate ability turns him into an absolute beast of a human being, upping both his damage and his movement speed for a short while. So he's just zipping around the map going pew 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 pew, spin kick, pew pew pew, stab stab stab. He's just an all-rounder, you know? He's the character you play when you want to have the most normal combat experience, because obviously he's who you play in the campaign. All that changes with the next three characters, starting with the brand new character added to Mercenaries, Luis Serra. Luis is equipped with personally my favorite pistol in both the original and the new game, the Red 9 with the trusted stock. This thing is a headshot machine, but he's also got the bolt action rifle. Now that is one less weapon than Leon had. However, his mayhem ability, oh dear God, he just takes a bunch of dynamite and chucks it onto the floor. So he can just blow up whatever he wants to. And the best part is he is completely invulnerable to his own explosions. So when Luis goes into mayhem mode, he just becomes a bomb chucking machine, man. You back yourself into a corner, you let all of these enemies surround you. Next thing you know, boom, 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 boom. Like, it is absurd. Grenades deal self-damage, right? But Luis's dynamite, fuck it. Just let him chuck it, man. He just throws dynamite at his feet and everything around him dies. He is so much fun. I really do like Luis. Luis is just a great character. I like what they did with him in the new game, and his Mercenaries character is stupid. It's so much fun. But he's not my favorite character of the four. I give the award of most fun to play to Krauser. You see, Krauser is equipped with his TMP for crowd control, and then he also has his explosive bow and arrow that he has in the campaign. That's great for single target damage, taking care of crossbow enemies, things like that. The TMP is great for, like I said, general crowd control, but the real key to Krauser's kit is his infinite durability knife and just how fucking fast he can stab, man. Krauser is a melee character. He goes in, he just goes, and then enemies die. He is so much fun to use, to just go in and stab and roll and stab and roll. But what makes Krauser super fun is his mayhem ability bursts his arms into these giant Plagos swords, you know, his final form from the campaign, and he just starts slaughtering shit. And as a fan of the DMC series, it is great to see that he has a stinger ability where he just launches forward and slaughters everything in his path. He is disgusting. But the best part is once his Plagos swords go away, now his sleeves are broken, and you get to see Krauser's giant, chunky guns. You know what I'm saying? Like the sexy meat on his arms. Does that? Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, Krauser's fun. We're moving on. If you thought Krauser was OP with his infinite knife and giant swords, oh Lord, allow me to introduce you to Hunk. Hunk is a fan favorite in the Resident Evil community, coming from Resident Evil 2. Well, He has his trusted submachine gun, the LE5, and that's it. He has a knife that does not have infinite durability, and he has a couple of flash grenades, but all he has is his LE5. But when I say that he is OP, holy shit, is Hunk broken. Because the LE5 is not only a disgustingly good gun, but Hunk's Mayhem ability gives him infinite ammo without the need to reload for so fucking long. If you fully charge your Mayhem, there should be nobody that even comes close to you for at least 30 seconds of just Hunk. And he can charge his Mayhem so fast. Like, just to put into perspective how fucking broken Hunk is, I got an S double plus rank on the village map with Hunk the very first time I ever played him. I really wish that I had captured this footage, because I was just like, oh, I'm gonna play Hunk, I'm gonna experiment with him before I start to film B-roll. Nope, double S rank first time I played him. Now, just because he's broken, that does not make him not fun. Hunk is super fun, because in a single player game like this, good God, is he a beast. He's fun to use. I think Krauser's knife and hand-to-hand combat is a little bit more fun, but if you just want to go in there and slaughter an entire village of people, Hunk's the person to do it as. So that's the 4 playable characters in Resident Evil 4's Mercenaries mode. Now, of course, we might get both Ada and Wesker come the Separate Ways DLC, but for now, those are 4 extremely different characters that all play in their own ways and are really fun. But we also have 3 different maps. We have the village, the castle, and the island. Of course, these are the 3 core areas the game takes place over, but each map gives you different enemies. Obviously, the village gives you more Ganados, it gives you the chainsaw fuckers, the castle gives you more cultists, gives you like the red cloaked dude that can spawn more plagas. It also has the fucking cannons everywhere, so you have to dodge cannonballs the entire time as well. And then the island throws the fucking shield guys at you, the helmeted dudes, the guys with giant electric spears, the udders with the giant machine gun arms. All 3 of these maps add different varieties, different enemy types, different layouts, and then each time you play a map, it kind of changes where the layout of some of the consumables and like the upgrade things are, which also makes it really, really fun. You want to kind of learn all the different spawns, all the different places on the different maps with the different characters. It is a very, very cool system. But I should be a little bit honest, because though I never played the original Resident Evil 4's Mercenaries, this isn't my first time playing a Mercenaries mode. I have played both the Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries and the Resident Evil Village Mercenaries, and as a die-hard lover of the 2 Ethan Winters games, Village and 7, I didn't really like Village's Mercenaries. I don't know what it was. Everyone was really hyped for it. Everyone really liked it. They thought it was a great example of what Mercenaries could be in the modern day. And I just kind of wasn't a fan of what they did with Village. It was a lot more fun when they added Mommy Milkers and that weird dude from Breaking Bad, but even then, it was not something that drew me in to go play it constantly. But now, having played Resident Evil 4's Mercenaries, I can say that I understand. Resident Evil 4, the remake in particular, has the perfect gameplay for a horde mode style arcade shooter like Mercenaries. It really asks you to experiment. It creates the perfect loop of stress, power fantasy, close calls, fucking 80s B-movie over the top action with a capital A action. It is chaos incarnate, and it is so much fun. And yeah, I think that Resident Evil 4, the game itself, already has a perfect package, but man, you get Mercenaries for free. This is just more on top of what's already really good, so seriously, y'all should not be missing out on what I think is one of the greatest games to come out recently. Even if you are not a fan of survival horror or action shooters, trust me when I say that the Resident Evil 4 remake it's just sublime. It is so fucking fun with so much replay value and unlockables and cosmetics to play with. And I'm right now practicing some speedrunning for Resident Evil 4, which, you know, if you want to check that out, come and see me on streams on Mondays. I'm going to be playing the Resident Evil 4 speedrun, but it is just so cool. And fans of Resident Evil have been really hammering online for a full Mercenaries standalone game, which I think would be so much fucking fun, man. Can you imagine a standalone Mercenaries mode? They've been trying to peddle us this multiplayer competitive shooters things with RE4. Go check out that video if you haven't, and it really hasn't been working. But imagine a Mercenaries standalone game that has co-op, a bunch of the most famous characters throughout the entire franchise. Fucking bring Jack Baker back from RE4, man. You know what? Maybe you can buff yourself up. Maybe you can play Chris and then buff into fucking, I don't know, play as Jill, fucking explode into Nemesis. That would be so cool if like her Mayhem mode turns her into Nemesis and she shoots shits down, you know? Bring Jack Baker back. I don't know. But you have so many cool characters to draw from. Fans would love a standalone Mercenaries mode with all of these characters. Pick a bunch of maps throughout some of the most iconic areas throughout all of Resident Evil. Make it co-op up to like 4 players. Like a Left 4 Dead Resident Evil Mercenaries game sounds so fucking cool. And if fucking Capcom is really hell-bent on trying to make some sort of like multiplayer game for Resident Evil, this is the way to do it. Don't make it competitive. Make it a co-op mode. Maybe there is online matchmaking. You can queue with people if you want, or you can play it solo. I don't know. I'm just saying the possibilities are endless. And if Capcom is really hell-bent on making a multiplayer game, just do Mercenaries, but with co-op. I think that would be sick. I think that would be so much fun. But alas, it is just a pipe dream. But you know what isn't? Mercenaries for Resident Evil 4. That shit is real and it slaps so hard. Don't you think, Cutethlhu? I agree. Cutethlhu, look out, it's a grenade!